Hi everybody, well I haven't done one of these videos in an awful long time, have I? So here we are, we're back in Call of Duty's Warzone with a solo victory. This is my first time playing like an evening of Warzone for a long time. This is my second game of the evening after I got a top 10 finish in my first game. Kind of using a slightly different strategy, which I'll talk about in this video. So anyway, as you can see, we've got a southeastern circle and we've got a kind of southwest to east flight path. So using my normal strategy of flying as far away as possible in order to loot safely, I head north towards the dam. One of the beauties of Warzone is the fact that there's vehicles everywhere, and so you can fly a long way to loot safely, but then it's like, what happens next? And you'll know that for games like PUBG and Warzone, for a lot of times I would do the D23E strategy, which basically means fly a long way from the airplane, jump into a car if necessary on a game like PUBG, drive even further away from the aeroplane's path, loot up in safety, and then drive to the edge of the first circle, loot there safely, drive to the edge of the second circle, drive to the edge of the third circle, and then from that point on you play the edge on foot. Now that worked pretty well for PUBG. Wasn't always that effective with Warzone though, because the map is much smaller and it's much more obvious to other players when you're driving a vehicle. You're also very vulnerable when you're in a vehicle for things like RPGs and C4s and guided missiles and all these nasty things that can take you out pretty quick. So I've used this technique quite a few times, but I'm really trying it out now. So, I'm really enjoying Call of Duty Black Ops, but I wanted to come back, do some Warzone. And this technique, I'm not sure what I'm going to call it at the moment, but it's basically fly far, so get as far away from the flight path as you can, so you can loot in safety, get enough money, get a gas mask, get ammo. If you can, then on the first supply drop, get your loadout so that you get your cold-blooded. You get your weapon of choice, and you get your ghost, so you're not appearing on UAVs, and the cold-blooded keeps you off heat sense, thermal scopes, that sort of stuff. And then you start heading towards the centre of the first circle, or the second circle, depending on what time it is. And you find yourself a nice hidey hole, and you camp there. Now you don't go right to the centre, because quite a few people do go right to the centre, but kind of go off centre somewhere, and then you just wait to see what the circles do, because especially now we have crossplay in Warzone. Well, we've always had crossplay in Warzone. It's very dangerous to be running around outside, because you've got PC players on keyboard and mouse who are incredibly accurate, who will headshot you from a long way away and spoil your day. Whereas if you can find a nice building near the centre of the circle, you can just hang around there, you can chill out of there, look at something on your phone, think about life, scratch your whatevers, and then as the circles come in, sometimes you get favourable ones where you won't have to run very far at all. Now at that point, when you getting down to like the last two circles, before it actually starts to move, at that point you do kind of play the edge. Now a big thing about this technique as well is that often it's best to move early in the later circle. So if you're in a house and you get a harsh circle shift, don't wait to move. Jump in your vehicle, drive to the near the centre of the next circle, and do it early before other people have the chance to move. Also remember in Warzone, people can be running those, is it the recon contracts, can't they, where they actually know where the final circles are going to be. Anyway, that's enough of me waffling on. Let's start editing this video so you can actually see what happens. So I'm kind of looting up in the north, and then I jump in the vehicle as the circle starts to come in my nice little Land Rover here, and start heading towards the well, the idea is to head towards the centre of the circle. My loadout comes in, so I think, oh, this is an opportunity. I am under fire, but I think if I go around this way, I can be fairly safe. However, this is very, very dangerous, and I pick up my XM4 from Cold War, and then lose on my armour. So I was very lucky here, very, very lucky. And now my plan is to get to the centre-ish of the next circle. However, I managed to get knocked out of my car by this big truck, and I'm like, ugh! So I've got no armour because I'm an easy kill, so I go and hide by the bridge and proceed to armour up. And I kind of hang around here for a couple of circle changes because I'm thinking, I'm a reasonable way into the circle. But then when this circle pop goes, you'll see that really has quite a significant shift towards the southeast, down towards farmland. So I'm like, right, okay, this is where I have to, I've got to make a move here. I've got to move into one of these buildings there and be ready. And there's a quad, or not a quad, one of those little jeeps on the other side of the bridge. So I do the old dance of death, jump into the jeep, and then head off to farmland, wiggling away, just prevent being sniped out of my vehicle. Get to farmland. I'm trying to stay away from the centre, and I'm trying to stay away from buy stations and that sort of stuff. And I think, right, let's get this little house here. It's always dangerous because there could be someone doing exactly what I'm doing. I've got the heartbeat sensor, but people at this stage are probably using Ghost or Cold-Blooded. So now it's just a case of, right, let's make this place my home for the next few minutes, the next few circles, to see if we can be lucky. Now, what happens next is somebody actually pulls up in this, I think it's a truck, isn't it, or something that pulls up, and you get the classic someone coming in your house. But me camping over there doesn't really have much of a chance. So that's another argument for moving early, because lots of people are trying to do the same thing. So I stay in this house, I wait until, as you can see, the circle's popped away from me. Now it's a case of, right, there's quite a few people left, there's 20 people left, let's move early, and let's move into another building right on the edge of the circle, and we'll make our move from here. Now, when you're in this sort of situation again, I'm quite lucky because this is in farmland, so there's lots of buildings to to hop from one to the other. And as you can see now, the circle's kind of popped away from me. Now, I'm not going to do any more cuts now. We're going to see the whole of the last few minutes. And what I'm doing here is I'm just looking to move at the very last minute. I'm just listening out where the enemies will be, and relying really on everybody else shooting each other. Now, what happens at the end of this, when I get the victory, what you'll see is it's a great example of me not really be panicking, because I lose track of the top right hand corner of the screen. Because what happens in Warzone, and this is probably obvious to you, but it happens in Warzone, in the top right hand of the screen it tells you how many people you've killed, and the next one is how many people are left. And then when people are watching you, there's another figure that pops up, and I'm really good at oh, this is quite funny here. This guy in this jeep comes along, so I rocket him and then tries to run me over. Now that's a big argument having the RPG in solos, because otherwise you simply couldn't deal with someone. So the gas is coming in, I've got to move. I see that, God knows where that guy in that little house doesn't see me, so I get my RPG out. For some reason he doesn't move, and I down him. Now there is a guy upstairs here. He was being very careful there. See how he wasn't moving, even though he was reviving. I'm not quite sure how this works. Because what happens in this victory is I don't realise there's only me and one other guy left. So we're into basically one of the final circles here. Now, I take that guy's armour off, and I go to finish him off, but I don't know where he's gone. So I don't push it, I wait, and I move back into situation. Now, this is where I don't understand how many players are left, because a couple of people are watching me, and I think, is that how many people are left? So now we're into the situation where the circle moves, and now it's a case of looking, right, where's the circle going? Where am I in relation to everybody else? And how can I get ahead of the game? So I hear that guy there. Now at this point there's still 3 people left, me and 2 others. So now I've got to move. Guy's shooting at me. Now there's only 2 of us. There's only 2 of us. Right, now there's only 2 of us left, but I still don't realise that. I think there's 3 people left. So I know he's there, I can hear him coughing, I hip fire him, But if you look in the bottom right corner, I'm pretty close to dying. So I'm not saying this is a great Warzone victory or anything. You know, I only got, was it 4 kills I think or something? And I was very lucky at the end. But it shows you the viability of the tactic. Now I know it's not an exciting tactic. It's a very campy tactic, you could say. I would say it's a very tactically aware strategy to use. But what it does, it gets you into the top 10. And once you're into the top 10, as you've heard me say in many, many videos, all bets are off. If you get yourself to the top 10, then if you do that enough times, Lady Luck will be with you and you'll put yourself with a fighting chance of getting a Warzone solo victory in this amazing game. Anyway, that's enough from me. Hit like if you enjoyed the video, subscribe if you want to see more of the same, and I will of course see you again soon.